when you pass credentials as command line arguments, they are basically seen if you run the process tree. You're going to copy this, su root, paste the password. Well, today's room is Beach Bar, and it's actually revealing the challenge solution in the description. At the Beach Bar, even shell access is complementary. This basically means that the application can basically process whatever input you give it, and thus allows you to have shell access. We're going to see that. The jukebox takes request any kind. So this is basic a machine that you just have to spawn the attacker machine, lab machine. If you want to do it from the attacker machine, just make sure to spawn it and open it up on the left. Down here we have the briefing. Basically, the briefing reveals, as I said earlier, that the application can process whatever input you supply. At the end, we have to supply user and root flag. So let's have a look here. When we access the provided IP, we are presented with a login form to the Beach Bar application. Now, here's the thing. You might be tempted to try SQL injection payloads to SQL inject your way to the admin dashboard. Now, that's not wrong. You could try it, but it is way much simpler in this scenario. All you have to do is just to right-click and view the page source. Now, basically, code snippets and code artifacts sometimes reveal artifacts, reveal path, reveal credentials, especially in the developer comments. So staff note, the demo DJ login is still enabled for the soft opening. DJ, swap this before the season starts. I know this is not very much attractive. It's not the admin credential you're looking for, but let's be realistic here. We're not going to find or stumble upon admin credentials in the page source of a public page. So the challenge author tried to be realistic here and provide you with basic user login. So if you go back here and try these credentials, DJ and DJ. Okay. So tonight on the floor, signed in as DJ, the jukebox is streaming live to the deck speakers. So that's basic dashboard. There is no interactive functions in this box, but the other box, playlist, bring a set of another light, export. It's clickable. The current playlist has YAML, tweak it, and load it back via import. That's what I was talking about here, import. So through the import, we're going to have to shell our way in, right? But first, we're going to have to export the current playlist to have a look at how it looks. So clicking on this, it's in YAML. Double click this, open the index editor, and that's our YAML playlist. This is our YAML file that represents the playlist. You can see the meta information such as the name, the vibe, and the tracks available in the playlist. Every track having an artist and title, like pair of metadata here. So what you could do to test whether the YAML processor of this Beach Bar application is processing the YAML safely is to try to manipulate one of these metadata, right? So these tags, such as the name, the vibe, you could change the value to something that tests whether the application safely serializes the YAML data, right? That's what we want to test here. So one way to do that is to insert Python objects. Okay, if the Python objects executes by the server side here, we are basically sure now, or we will be sure that there is unsafe deserialization, right? However, if the Python objects that we're about to insert here are processed as pure data, right? It means that the application is safely processing or serializing the YAML data. So, for example, how to insert Python objects here? You could start with Python objects apply, and here basically you insert the object. Now, what you could do here, you could try testing an ID command. You could try testing a sleep command. My advice first is to try something that is not destructive or harmful to the server, such as a sleep command. The sleep command allows you to determine whether the application responds with a time delay. If the application responds with a time delay by the number of seconds that we're going to supply here, it means now it is unsafely deserializing the YAML objects. Time.sleep. We want a measurable delay, right? So let's talk about 9 seconds. Okay, so 9 seconds is basically a very measurable delay if the server takes this time or this number of seconds to respond. If it does so, it means it is basically variable to YAML deserialization. So we're gonna save this, and then we're gonna go back, click on import. There is no, you can upload basically. So we're gonna upload this, upload the playlist, and load. Now we're gonna see if it takes 10 seconds. Let's try to paste the contents. It's way better than just import. Paste the contents here. So could not load playlist, could not determine a constructor for the tag time.sleep in Unicode string line number 2. Let's have a look here. And line number 2, name, Python object. Oh, there is no S. Load. And we have the same issue here. Python object apply time.sleep. Yeah, remove the slash here. Let's try. Okay, so now as you can see, by this, looking at the spinning here at the browser tab, it is taking time to load the page. And at the end, it loaded the page. And we look at the output, the playlist now has been loaded. And it took around, I think it took around 5 to 7 seconds. Anyway, so it responded, or it deserialized the Python objects we provided, which means now we can basically try to elevate the tone of testing and maybe try with an ID command. We're going to remove these. Okay. And we're just going to leave the Python object apply. This time we're going to remove this and create a sub-process to spawn an ID, right? Or to execute the ID command. Sub-process to check output. This basically takes a number of arguments. We're going to supply one, which is going to be the ID. Now, if this executes and returns the ID of the existing user, we are extra sure now that this is actually vulnerable to YAML deserialization. Have a look. So that's the UID, bartender. And now we can proceed and have shell access. To do that, we're gonna, instead of subprocess.check output, we're gonna say apply os.system. And for me, we're gonna specify the reverse shell. So in my case, I'm going to have a look here at the bash shells. So we want it to be TCP and reactive. You could basically go with this one. Honestly, I haven't tried it. So let's see. My attacker IP. So we're gonna spawn a listener first. And on a separate tab, we're gonna shift config and have a look at the IP. Scrolling up, yeah, found it. So that's gonna be the IP. And we're gonna go back and look here, the attacker IP, this IP, and the port is going to be 4545, my preferred port. And now we're gonna execute. Load, and now we got the shell access ID, and you are now the bartender. Okay, so let's go back to the briefing. First, we're gonna obtain the user flag. So right now we are under the beach bar directory. If we see to home and look at bartender, no such file directory. Let's get user.txt, that's our user flag. Now, to obtain the root flag, we're gonna have to escalate the privileges. It's not very difficult actually in this challenge. All you have to do is just to execute ps aux. I will look at the running processes along with any command line argument that's any command and its arguments that's being run by any process. So look at the output. Our aim here is to look for any process that's running as root, right? If we found one, we would basically exploit this process by means of GTFO or just basic enumeration of the process. So instead of looking through all of this, I'm going to use grep. So ps aux grep root. Let's have a look. Looks like we have a lot of processes running as root. Take a look at this one. this opt beach bar, Python running a Python script. The user is bartender, the group is partner. That's also not revealing. The one that's above is also a Python script named jukebox -- stream pass. Yeah, so this is a password, but to which user? It's basically for the root user because the process is running as root. So you see, when you pass credentials as command line arguments, they are basically seen if you run the process tree. You're going to copy this, su root, paste the password, and you're basically the root user. If you try pwd cd root ls cat root, and that's your cat root text, that's your root flag. Okay. Now, before I close this or wrap this up, make sure to check the description of the challenge to find the write-up, okay, that contains the solutions and walkthroughs for all of the Hacker Holidays challenges up until now. I will be adding more and more as the challenge or the event continues. So that's for today. I will see you later.